They wouldn't be doing any of this. They wouldn't be censoring opinions on Facebook. They wouldn't be reducing the views to my channel consistently and constantly. Whenever we get to 100,000 views, they readjust their algorithms and we're back down to 7,000. They wouldn't be doing that to me, wouldn't be doing that to everybody. They wouldn't block President Trump from Twitter. They wouldn't cancel Facebook pages for conservative causes. They wouldn't take down the walk away page for people who have decided to leave the Democratic Party. They wouldn't do any of this if they weren't very, very afraid. Now you just think about that for a second. If you can provide me with a reason why they would do all of these things that doesn't come from them being absolutely afraid, then I'm happy to listen to it. Now you can say, well, they're trying to eliminate thought. They're on a roll. They're trying to close the net. Absolutely true. Why are they trying to close the net? Why are they so afraid of people having a different opinion from them? I'm not afraid of what they say. I have no desire, no intent to shut down any speech that disagrees with me, because number one, I've got a better idea than they do, and my ideas survive better in the marketplace of ideas, and our ideas are the same. So I don't have any desire to do it. I don't have any motive is a better term. I don't have any desire to do it because I understand also that without criticism, without opposition, we're all capable of falling into that same kind of arrogance, which becomes murderous arrogance that we see on the left all the time. I think free speech is wonderful. So ask yourself, why are they doing all these things? If they're so sure they're right, why are they doing it? What are they so afraid of? They're afraid of the truth. And that's the thing that they're afraid of. And this is why we should be comfortable and calm and confident, because they fear the light of the truth, and you cannot manufacture darkness. You can only keep out the light. That's all you can do. You can paper up all the walls and the windows on the walls. You can lock the doors. You can try to block out the sun. Do all of those things. But you cannot generate darkness. There's no darkness generator. You can't pour darkness into a room. You can only keep out the light. And the light is what they are afraid of, which is why they're working so hard to keep it extinguished. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I think the big picture looks like this. They're going to begin to immediately put in place restrictions, taxes, and all the rest of it. There's not much we can do about that right now, other than to ignore them as much as possible, snub them. If it is within your power to do it without obeying them, great. If not, do to them what they do to us. Drag your feet. Drag your feet as slow as you can. Oh yeah, I'm working on complying with that as much as I can. I have a couple questions for you. Let the second wave industrial era, centralized, top-down, fat, heavy, slow, expensive government make them be the dinosaurs that they are. The future belongs to the quick and the agile. That's us, not them. They're the ones that want big centralized government, not us. That's what they want. They're the ones who want all of this power in one place. They're the ones that don't believe in dispersing either power or decisions to the people. They're the dinosaurs. They're the fossils. They're the behemoths. They're the lazy, stupid, fat, slow, expensive system that has been on its way out for 10 or 15 years, and we're going to hasten that demise. Driven by people just exactly like you. This isn't a mystery. You don't need priests to come out of the temples. You don't need special technicians to appear. It happens. It's happening right now. We will find a way, very quickly, a number of ways, to do business amongst ourselves. And we will allow our natural ability to grow businesses and our passion for growth and hard work. We will keep that focused inside the family. And that will allow us to become stronger and stronger. And furthermore, it will deprive the parasites of their host organism. And as they get more and more fossilized, more and more bureaucratized, more and more stratified, more and more unified, more and more of this outdated, obsolete system, they become bigger, fatter, and slower. And our job will be to become smaller, quicker, and more agile, and to connect to each other underneath the feet of these extinct creatures. Practice the art of the snub. Let them have their virtual inauguration day with a Capitol locked down, razor wire, troops on the street with rifles. That is the image of the Biden-Harris administration. Let them have it. Let them own it. Don't give them any reason for that to be necessary. But if you do, I can't stop that. My advice would be let them simply show the world what they've turned America into. Joe Biden got the nomination, and whether he fairly or unfairly won the election, he did it because COVID provided an opportunity for him not to appear in public. Well, you don't get to not appear in public when you're the president, and you don't get to prepare statements when you're the president. The president has to deal with situations in real time, and anybody who's watched Joe Biden, and Sky News in Australia, by the way, has been doing an amazing job with that. Their coverage of the entire election was just first rate. Now, the American people are going to see what they elected. They're not going to see the presentation of what they thought they were getting. They're going to see what they actually got. Buyer's remorse is coming in a series of semi-trucks, an entire convoy. All of these things are coming out now. None of it came out before the election. And again, the entire point here, and the reason that I'm feeling so optimistic today, I feel better today than I have at any time since about, I don't want to, maybe 10 p.m. Pacific on November 3rd, 2020. Just on one day's scan of the news, we find a dozen cases where the American people are going to realize that they've been lied to, and lied to badly, and there's no way to escape this going forward. When the full effect of what they've done hits the people who had no idea really what they were buying what they were sold, what they were advertised, then things are going to get real interesting. Folks, what looks like to me from here today on the 20th of January is simply this. The people who voted for Joe Biden went to a car dealer and bought a new car, and they were told there was a 5-year warranty and all the rest of the stuff. And they got in the car and they started it up, and they were never really particularly in love with this particular car, but it was a new car, so they took it out for a drive. And about a quarter of a mile down the street, the transmission falls out of the car. Now, the transmission falling out of the car is a problem, but their real problem is not the transmission falling out of the car. In fact, what I'm saying is that the left's real problem is not that they won't be able to deliver on what they said they were going to be able to deliver on. If you buy a new car from a lot and you had a salesman tell you about all these wonderful guarantees and features, and you drive this thing down the road and the transmission falls out, you're going to go back to that car dealer and you're going to be in a bad mood. And if it turns out that he's not going to honor your warranty because he can't, then you're going to be in a really, really bad mood. And that's what's happening on day one of the Joe Biden administration. You cannot continue to beat and kick the truth without it biting you back. And it bit them back hard today, and it's going to get worse and worse for them and better for us every day that goes by. So this isn't just something kind of obnoxious and repulsive and preening and arrogant and self-centered and narcissistic and all the rest. It's not just the sight of somebody strolling down the street waving their diamond stick pins of ideology and burning, lighting their cigarettes with $100 bills of ideology. It's worse than that. It's actually damaging the rest of us. And their contempt for the rest of us is so extraordinary that I don't think it's going to take much explanation. But if you want to look at the last couple of months and look at the attitudes of the CEOs of Twitter or Facebook, YouTube, Google, and their attitude towards the regular people, if you don't understand the disdain and really the disgust inherent in saying that I know what's better for those people than they do. They're not capable of making their own decisions. They're just not smart enough, and they're not moral enough. If we tell them that a terrorist attack was started by having somebody screaming Allahu Akbar at the top of their lungs, well, we can't tell regular people that, because if we do, they're so ignorant and so hate-filled that they'll just go down the streets of America and pull Muslims out of their homes and beat them to death in the streets with tire irons. Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen in the days and hours after 9/11. But that's not important to them. This is how they maintain their sense of superiority. This is the war that's going on in America, and it's going on around the world. It's the war between the elitists who enact policies that damage the population, raise their social status, and, since both of these things are happening simultaneously, provides their genuine motivation, which is to separate them even further from the people that they've been presumably elected to care for and to watch over. I just want a federal government that will fit back into the box that it came in. And that's the goal, is to reduce the ability of elitists to tell us what to do, to take away their power. Facebook, Google, Twitter, all of them, the news media, Hollywood, movies, television, all of it's all trumpeting the same message. And it's a message from a very, very, very small group of very, very, very insecure, broken people. And they're designed to appeal to our decency and make us submit to what they want to do to us. We're not going to do it. Why are there so many homeless people in LA? The answer is simple. If there are plenty of homeless people in LA, if the streets are overflowing with them, if you cannot get in and out of your house without stepping over homeless people, if homeless people are smashing windows, going down the streets and just throwing enormous cinder blocks through the windows of passing cars and standing there naked, screaming at the top of their lungs or defecating in the streets, if that is the environment that exists in your city, then when a bond issue comes up or a tax issue comes up and it's targeted to deal with the homeless problem, then you'll do what we did in California here, which is approve the measure and allocate hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, probably tens of billions of dollars or even more to solve the homeless problem, which we're told is a housing problem when it's really a mental health problem. So all of this money is raised, billions of dollars are raised in order to build this housing. The housing is never built, and the money disappears. Now, when I say the money disappears, I don't mean that a strong wind came along and blew those $100 bills out of City Hall. I mean the money disappeared. The money was raised. I can testify to that because I wrote a check for a significant amount of it. So where did it go? Well, where do you think it went? Where do you think it went? Went into the pockets of the politicians. Some of it went to cronyism in terms of contractors who, like everything else, are dragging their feet and may construct 100 or 50 of the 30,000 units that we were told was necessary to solve this problem, when again and again and again, we find it's not a housing problem, it's a mental health problem. And then we get to the real, actual case for making what I call the politics of ruin. We're ruining things. We're ruining lives, ruining environments, communities, ruining public health, ruining any sense of joy in life, any sense of pleasure. Good vibrations haven't been seen in California in 40 years. And when you ask yourself, why would a politician entrusted with the preservation of their city, why they would engage in these kind of policies, now you know the answer. It's for money. It's just that simple. It's a scam. It's a gigantic, enormous racket.